Intellectual Property Center, the Creative Works Warehouse. At Intellectual Property Center, we strive to make sure all the rights holders benefit from the works they have created. At Intellectual Property Center, we make it our effort that we strengthen the economic rights of all the creators to harness and the productivity in the creative economy. Today, with us, as we are celebrating the Intellectual Property Day of Women in Innovation, we are joined by Zenah Nakanwagi, a poet, a writer, who will be telling us how she experiences the creative economy as a writer and a woman in innovation.
My name is Nakanwagi Zenah. As I've been introduced to you by Mr. Norman, I'm a poet. I'm happy to be at Intellectual Property Center. I hope today I'm going to get everything that I've been asking myself. Mr. Norman, there are scenarios where you go to the poetry hub and you pay money like 20,000 to go and watch someone perform a poem. Only to reach and you find a person is performing your poem. Imagine you create something and then you even pay to watch it being performed. So in that circumstance, how do you go about it?
Someone is performing your poem.
Yes.
A poem written by you.
A poem written by you. Originally, it's even in your book.
Two things have to be put into context. Number one is that copyright is created immediately work has been put into form. For example, on CD, in a book, or published online, because apparently we have digital, this is the digital form of setup, Now, in Uganda or world over, it's not a requirement to have copyright registered. As immediately you have created it, doesn't matter the quality, it becomes protectable. Now, the reason why we have registration majorly is to have evidence value, all right? But that doesn't mean when you're not registered, you cannot claim copyright. The scenario you're putting across where you go to a hub, you pay money to watch, and then you watch your own work.
Yes.
Is definitely quite disturbing.
And then someone comes on stage and says, I'm going to perform this particular poem written by me, and even gives circumstances under which he wrote the poem.
Which are similar to yours.
Not really, sometimes are even different. Like there is a poem I heard of Museveni is a God. It was completely different from how the person expressed himself. He came and said, I'm going to perform a poem called Museveni is a God. Sometimes I would share my poems on my Facebook page. So I think the person got it from there and said, I'm going to perform a poem called Museveni is a God. Now, I wrote this poem after reading the history of Uganda, and then I realized that Museveni did enough for the country, and I wrote this poem. But the truth is, even what was in the poem and how he was explaining it, they were completely different.
Literally, he distorted
the
poem.
Yes.
What I would expect under normal circumstances, if there is evidence, now copyright also has that evidence value chain, is why registration becomes of importance. To show that in research, this is what I always advise the researchers. Let's say when the doctors are doing their research, with what we call a lab notebook, where you date and then you keep showing what you have done as towards that research you are working towards until the final stages. It's not like it's not a diary. Like the way you write about how you met the man, what he told you, what he didn't tell you.
The times you've gone for
a date. That kind of notebook is meant to show the chain of origin in terms of I wrote this at this time, this date, this, So the same applies. In the event that you are faced with that circumstance, what can be done? Normally, if you file a suit, for example, all the money that he has earned as a result of performing your work, first of all, is an infringement. Okay, and our law is in such a state that it has two causes. You can either choose to go civil or criminal. Okay, so if you do civil, you seek for damages as what you would have earned had he not performed. Of course, criminal has penalties including imprisonment and fines as well. Okay, so under normal circumstances, just like if somebody uses your song, say in an advert, you should go for how much he has earned from that advert. A percentage of the same should be given to you, because sometimes it gets worse. For example, if this is the lead song and it was meant to be launched in an album, and probably the publisher now can no longer buy it for publication, then you might also claim that if you can prove that, you see, my publisher fell out as a result of having this song running through adverts, so my publisher fell out and I cannot sell it, that is a compensation you'd also go for. Similarly, if the show can no longer attract audience because it has been devalued, okay, to a jingle, then that also is something you can move to prove and get compensated for. Okay. So technically speaking, when somebody is performing your own composition, is breaching your right as an author. Because as an author, one, you have the right to authorize production, in fact, even performance. If you have also, because in this case, I'm certain you are the author and you are the performer, because you have authored the poem and then you have gone ahead to perform it. So which puts you in two places, that you author and perform. As a performer, you hold rights to authorize performance as well in your type of scenario. So Uganda as it is today, following the principles of economy, where we talk of the deep pocket theory, save for setting precedent, if you followed such a person who probably has also been paid maybe 50,000 to come and make a presentation of his poem, you may not necessarily earn anything. But for setting the precedent and others can learn from, it would be one of those cases that would be interesting to put out, that I authored my poem, and at the end of that day I have even paid, okay, to watch this performance. So these are some of the things that we at Intellectual Property Center look forward to. Okay? We want to educate and make people aware of their rights. That look, these are my rights upon my work. And as such, you should not capitalize or earn from it without my authorization. Because you have to be compensated for the labor, time, and all the other...
And even emotions involved writing.
Obviously, because some poems are from the heart or experience.
There's a time I was joking with people on Facebook. I said, if I share a romantic poem and you want to send it to your girlfriend or boyfriend, and basically I put it on the side of a boyfriend, that if you want to send it to your boyfriend, you have to include my name, written by Nakanwagi Zenah, you put my phone number and my picture. Because you're actually transferring my emotions to your boyfriend. You are not telling him exactly how you feel. You're transferring how I feel, probably about someone else, to call it your own property.
Yeah, you have spoken about something. You know, the mentioning your name is not supposed to be a request. As long as someone is transferring your work to another person, you are the author. So the moral right doesn't fade. Every time this work is being put across, it must indicate written by Nakanwagi. And the law here forbids assigning of moral rights unless otherwise. It says such a right is not supposed to be transferable because it is the credit of the author.
Okay.
And such a equally is if you're in performance, you have to be mentioned, performed by, or when they are putting the cast in a movie, your name has to appear. All right. So it is not that you're asking or requesting, except that you're asking too much by saying that your picture should also appear.
It was actually a joke.
Including your number.
Yeah,
that might really transfer everything, including the emotions now of the boyfriend to yourself, and we might have issues now of man snatching in another context.
No, please. So, Mr. Norman at Intellectual Property Center, how are you going to help, especially to people like us who are partly in writing and partly doing other things, and we actually don't know specifically how to market our work, how to guard our work, how to own our work?
Like I said earlier, ownership is a constant.
But there are very many people out there who don't even know how to own.
We, in partnership with OSEA, are only that we are doing this in 2 districts, in Kampala and Wakiso. And we are out there to explain to the innovators. By innovation, by the way, extends far, including it ordinarily would cover the musicians, the film people, to cover the researchers. It covers anybody who brings out
something original.
But that is the literal explanation, not what is in the book. Because personally, the innovation that I find in the book written defeats my intellect. Because when I sit down and write a song, I am innovating something.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas the law has put strict observance into innovation to relate with science, among other things. But to me, when I look at the youth, I want to bundle them up together as innovators, because they are creators. Okay, they are creators of works. Okay, if you put up a song, you have created the song. If you put up a movie, you have created the movie. And you cannot there is no way you can separate creation and innovation.
Actually,
you cannot separate innovation. I'm trying to put the law away, but trying to put a general application to the word. Of course, if we looked at the acts and other things, how they explain or they demonstrate innovation, it would be specific. All right. My entire interest in this project, my belief is we should no longer be employed, because our employers can no longer pay us enough. Many of us live beyond our means. For example, my salary could be 500,000, but I'm living in a house of 500,000.
I know.
I am driving a car which could maybe require 15,000 of fuel on a daily. I could have a child who I have to pay school fees for. I need to dress. Okay. I need to.
You're forgetting the perfume.
Yes, the perfume.
The water I use every day.
Exactly. And then you make the dates you have to go for if you are not married. And if you are married, it gets worse. You have to pay upkeep for your wife if she requires it. You have to buy food. Because if you are living as a single person, you may choose to have regulated meal consumption. But if you have a family, a child, a wife, a maid, it gets worse. And so my belief is, what we would like to emphasize is innovators or creators of works like you, we want to put up a strong force that protects your work, and that, like our beneath our title, Intellectual Property Center, we always say IPC stands for Innovate, Protect, and Commercialize. What you see right here on this card.
I thought it was Intellectual Property Center.
Correct. It could mean that as well. But the idea is we want to put a market value for people where we are innovating. There's secure protection, and then we are able to commercialize. Okay, of course that is majorly in the when we go into the actual innovation of scientific or solutions that solve problems. I was reading about how the rich have benefited in innovation. They only identify a problem and create a solution for that problem. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, if I recall very well, I was reading about, it could have been Rockefeller, that at the time of his production of oil, there was a gentleman, I forget the name, who owned the railway station. But it was expensive for him to carry barrels of oil from wherever he was mining, he was extracting them from, to the marketplace. So, because of that situation, he created the pipeline alongside the railway line. He said, I'll just create my pipeline to move alongside the railway line. So that's kind of innovation. If you have, there is no way that we are all going to keep in employment when we are not earning from it majorly. But if we are innovating, we are being protected, and we are commercializing, that's the way to go. Because many people in this country go to the crafts people, the musicians, the film people, go to Katwe, go to the welders, even these gates. The gates you see that you have, someone is copying a design from another. The architectural plans, all these are copied, you know. But imagine if I put my plan and it's protected, and that everybody who wants to use that plan has to come to me and I license them. You see, that is where the licensing fees come from in intellectual property now.
So when you talk about the crafts, there is something that I always see, and I really feel bad about it. Something to do with the African, how are they called, the jewelry? I don't know whether they whether they should also be called jewelry, but they're like beads. You find a very poor woman is trying to make different designs into that. Then after, an uptown woman will come, buy that particular thing, let's say like at 2,000, takes it at Avema and sells it 50,000. But literally when you move down to where that woman made the bid from, you find no difference. The other one who has innovated, done all that, put even the time, is earning only 2,000. And the person who just comes, buys it, takes it the other side, sells it 50,000 or 20. Are those also going to be protected according to your plans?
Well, legally speaking, that is out of the scope.
Okay.
But let's look at it this way. Those are challenges in economics, because we do not do value addition to much of our work. We end up losing it. For example, the Ethiopians fought that in they took Starbucks on regarding their coffee, and they did a trademark for their coffee in the European and American countries, and now the sales have really gone high. If I'm not mistaken, there was an increment of more than $3.5 per kilogram. I need to correct the figures. Next time I'll be able to avail them. But the issue about the lady downtown, those are issues of scale and marketing. The Avema lady she's cunning enough to go downtown and take advantage, and then bring it down and bring it up, and then of course considering transport, rent of the building, among other things. But generally speaking, it's an issue, it's a challenge everywhere. You buy a liter of milk from the cattle keeper at 600, and then you sell the liter at 4,000, because you have done pasteurization and then packing, value addition. Value addition. I always, there's a friend of mine, he's in charge of value addition, Musoke Hilary, and I have told him, you see, for us, we are not looking for money. We're not saying that the government should give us money. We have the brain, we can make the money. But we need a secure path. A path that protects what we make.
We are doing, yes.
And then we should be able to earn from it. Because this policy of asking government, how many people will government give money? When if government gave all innovators 60 or 100 trillion, But for what? What are they going to do with that
What are
money?
you going to do with that?
No.
After all, you just spend it on...
Exactly. But if you say this, we need your Uganda Registration Services Bureau is the center or the intellectual property office of this country. If only they could take more time. They have the laws, all right? But the knowledge of the people, including users and makers of works, is quite lacking. That's where the effort needs to be addressed. And of course, some laws need to be amended, and I'm sure they are doing that. They need to make the consultation and ask the people how they feel about those laws, if they're being favored or not. All right? And if they are not, then they need to make the proper consultations, which will enable them to benefit from the creation of works. So, to me, I still insist, and I keep saying this, that the youth, if only we can be protected, the law can protect the works we make. We don't have much we want from them. We don't. Because I know I'll create my, say, perfume, I'll get rights over it, and I'll license some people, make some copies, sell, and then I'll say, I'm not comfortable with you, I'll get another person to license, and we move to the next level.
Yeah, and speaking from experience, the truth is we do not even have information. We don't have information on how our things are supposed to move. I think basically that is what is affecting most people. Because before I spoke to you, I didn't know I was even supposed to protect my work. I thought it was just a matter of writing and put everything there, and whoever wants can earn from it, whoever wants can use it. Me, my policy has always been, write what you love, put it together, and maybe do a launch, earn like 5, 6, 7 million from the launch, and everything is done.
You need to consult the collecting society or the collective management organization for literary works. It is the one concerned with such writings. They are charged with the responsibility of taking time to give you information, and you assign them your rights so they can collect from users of your works and then make distribution. You know, you can earn from a work forever.
Okay.
So there are people like Phil Collins in Europe have sung and now they're not singing, but they're earning.
They're still earning.
The other day I saw, I think Michael Jackson's estate got about the royalty collection world over was about $50 million per annum. The man is dead.
But still.
Yeah. So imagine we had a proper functional system of copyright in Uganda. The families of the late Philip Mongole Rutaya and Paul Kafero, yes, would be very rich families because their music lives on. Their music lives on. Every other day somebody plays one of these guys' songs, but the structures under which such monies are collected is not properly defined, and so is the distribution. Yeah, so the role of this program, why we come to you and seek and meet with you, is to understand what are the hindrances in your creative work. What do you feel? And then we can explain to you, and then you can tell us what you want us to do towards developing or lobbying for policy, laws. You know, this should be your show. Okay, so the creators, and anytime we invite you to this show, or if you want to be part of this show, you need to contact us. Because you, as a creator, she's not speaking for herself. She's speaking for the various poets.
And we have very many poets in Uganda. Apparently, poems are everywhere.
And who are suffering like you.
Yes, and you know, in Uganda, we are very lazy readers. But poetry summarizes everything. If I want to write about, let me say, a story of how I met you, I don't have to write 7, 10 pages. I'll just do 2 stanzas and all is done. But there is still lack of protection. That I think if you continue with your program and you put more efforts and give people information about what they're supposed to do, trust me, we shall end up like West Africa, and you will find people earning from their work.
Even the Kenyans are not doing so
Yeah,
bad.
even the Kenyans are not doing so bad. You see, nowadays a poet organizes a show, gets 5 people, then the person records whatever they have been doing and also goes and does the same thing the other side. So there is lack of information.
Yeah, because you see, the person who records the poem being performed puts it on his page and he gets 10,000 viewers.
Thank you.
And if they were paying per view, that money will go to him. Ordinarily, they write as the producer or whoever. But did you authorize him to do so? Those are the other issues that you need to deal with. Did he pay you for the show? In any case, which I doubt. Normally they come, people use their phones, record, put on their pages, they get views, some have adverts running through.
They literally don't even speak about you.
No, they don't.
They just upload and everything is done.
Yeah, well, that is why we are here for you. We encourage artists, we encourage innovators to reach out, all those who have issues affecting their intellectual property rights. We are here to develop with you, educate you, sensitize you, and work with you towards benefiting and commercializing your innovation. My name is Norman Mbabazi from Intellectual Property Center. You can reach us. We are at the moment rebranding with our website, www.ipcenterug.org. We are rebranding and we are trying to make sure even to include sample agreements for rights assignment, transfer, and licensing. The next time we will be on this show, we'll explain or go through the need to consider clauses in agreements when you are assigning or licensing someone to use your right. Thank you very much. I remain your host, Norman Mbabazi.